because they usually start from about 18 to go to war, yeah? They go to war, they go to camp, they get trained, they get brainwashed and to tell you that it's the enemy. A video game does exactly that. It brainwashes you.
Hey you guys, it's your girl Nads and you're watching TheTalk DXP. To skip to the main points made in this video, click on the timestamps in the description below.
What's good, guys? We're back here on TheTalk DXP, and we're going to be discussing today whether violence in video games influences youth violence. And I'm on the side of it has nothing to do with youth violence.
It depends how you look at it, because obviously you don't agree with us. You're going to look at the more extreme side of it and think, is everyone a murderer? No, that's not what we're saying. You know, it could be a number of things. It could be that the child has a certain circumstance in their household that allows them to be violent via these games, or it could just be a kid that lives in a very happy home, but he's violent because of what is being shown on these video games. At the end of the day, the more you do something, the more you become like that thing that you do, or the more you get used to that thing that you do. So I think that to a degree, if a kid spends hours and hours or days and days in a video game, eventually they will start to become violent. I mean, you do see videos of kids where they play games and they've lost, and their reaction is to be very angry.
Exactly.
Okay. But isn't that anyone's reaction to almost any video game possible?
Not necessarily.
You lose in FIFA, you're gonna be angry.
Not necessarily.
You lose in a racing game, you're gonna be angry.
Because you're saying any game, not every single game will cause you to be angry.
Some of those kids, when you talk to them sometimes, like, they tend to bring the example of like, oh, I wish I was in this game right now. Well, I'll be driving, I'll bump into this person, I'll do that. A young child that's 5 years old don't know exactly what's good and what's bad. When he's playing the game, he knows obviously it's a game, but like the fact that he's getting addicted to it, it's getting into his brain, and it's like, it's working on him.
Yeah.
Like us, when we're playing right now, obviously we're not going to do those crazy things out there like we see in video games. But if you put a child, he's 5 years old, let's say he's playing a game like plus 18, how is he going to react? How is he going to think?
As a parent, I had this issue at home where my kid was playing video games and they were violent and plus 18 and all of that. But it was my job to show him the difference between reality and a video game. And video games are video games. It's just a game. That was my job to explain to him. Now, everybody will be like, oh, he's a kid, he wouldn't understand. No, he should understand, and it's time for him to learn. And as a parent, yeah, okay, but I don't think video games makes anyone violent.
I hear what you're saying, and as a parent, it's your job to educate the child between a virtual reality thing and reality. I understand that completely. But you're a parent that will explain. There's parents that might not explain. And even with the explanation, if you leave your child for a certain amount of hours every single day playing the same game, they're a sponge. Children are sponges. So when they're very young, they don't understand anything unless they're being taught. And if they spend half their time on this video game, on this screen, learning this thing, and it's violent, and this man is killing that man, or this man is punching that man to get what he wants. For example, Call of Duty, they run around and they will hit somebody if they're stealing a car, for example. The kids can easily absorb that as a sponge, and they could bring it into reality. And in school, they might hit a kid, or they might steal a pencil. It doesn't necessarily have to be physical violence. It could be verbal violence. They could verbally attack someone as well.
Exactly. Yes, but let's say, what did I want to say? Well, let's say, okay, that video games are making kids violent because parents, they don't explain. That's what you said, guys. Okay, so basically, most of the kids, and that's what I have been noticed with parents nowadays especially, because most of them, they don't even have time for the kids. What would they do is they will throw at them video games to keep them occupied and busy, not to interact with them, and to just keep them under control.
But that's not in every scenario.
So why we are using video games as an excuse for parents and lack of responsibility.
I hear what you're saying, but that's not the question. We're not here to talk about how parents are necessarily monitoring their children playing video
Yes, but
games.
we're playing video games for violence, right?
Not necessarily.
No, not for
I've got my cousin growing up. He's a grown man now. But growing up, whenever I'd go visit him, he'd be in his video games. He'd still go out and play with his friends, but he would play his video games also, not because my aunt wasn't giving him attention, because he got plenty of that. He was an only child, so he got plenty of that, or is an only child. But he would play video games like Dragon Ball Z. And like, I never even thought that would be remotely as violent as it was when I would watch him playing. But it was, and I saw his reaction would instantly be to get angry and kick something or curse at the screen. It was just an instant reaction, and I don't think he's not a violent kid. Okay, he's not a violent kid, and he never was. But when he's playing video games, it puts him in a state where he automatically gets angry if things don't go his way on this game. And that's what we're saying, that's why it brings a certain emotion out in children that shouldn't be there, especially at a 5-year-old age.
Video games are not reality. Let's first put that.
No, it's not, yeah.
They're not reality. And when you buy that game from the beginning, kids are there to play the game. They know it's not real. They know it's not part of their lives.
They know it's not
They
real.
But at the end of the day, kids know this stuff is not real.
Not
They know it's a
necessarily.
game that you leave on the console. Now, going back to her parenting thing as well, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, let's put that whole age category where kids are kind of lost on what the world really is. And let's say they don't even understand that, right? They don't get that it's not reality. That's what you guys are saying. Because apparently you guys think, apparently you guys don't think that something behind a screen is different from walking on the street. Hold on, hear me out.
That's not what we're saying.
Because you buy this game knowing it is virtual. It is not reality. When you see these things in the game, right? Even as children, they know these things aren't reality.
Okay, but
hold up, little shawty, hold up. So even if you see these things in a game, right? In a 5-year-old, let's just put this in perspective. Like, we'll even bring your example, Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z. No one's gonna manufacture that ball, right? And use that as violence. We'll go to Call of Duty, right? Guns, for example.
yes.
No child from the age of 4 to 12 or 15 or 16 or how old they may be is going to find a gun unless their parent provides that to them. Unless they're in an environment where they will find a gun.
True.
That's not necessarily true, because I know you're from America.
I've experienced those things when I used to play Sims on PlayStation and stuff. I used to sleep and dream about Sims. So how can you tell me that's not reality? Like, you're waking up in the morning, all you're thinking about when you're eating breakfast is, oh my God, today I need to gain some money, because I want to buy this house in Sims, whatever. Yeah, it's interest, yeah. You can't do anything else. It's same as scary movies. When you're watching a movie at the cinema, it's not reality, whatever they're doing. Nothing is reality. But why do you get scared though? Why do some people get paranoid about what they watch on TV? And exactly, it's the same.
So what you're trying to tell me is that when you're playing your Sims, right? Yeah. You're inside this game.
Yes,
you're inside this game.
For me, I was
and
inside.
At the end of the day, when you go to bed, right? Like, where are these Sims?
The Sims are not here, but in my mind,
where are these Sims?
Of course, the Sims are not
when
next.
When you take the shower, no, but she's telling me.
The fact that I keep playing the game a lot, I end up
like influencing her world.
Yeah, exactly. I'm only thinking about that when I used to be in school, sleeping and whatever. That's all I used to think about. And you can't say that's not reality, because it's happened to me.
You're a gamer. That's in your head. Like, that shit's in your head. But you got to put into reality that we're dealing with violence here, right? And humans. Let's put it this way. Humans like pain. Let's put it this way. Humans like pain, and humans like inflicting pain. and pain leads to pleasure. Pain leads to pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know about the whole human liking pain. That's a whole nother level.
No, humans do.
That's a whole different story. Pain is a pleasure, like that's a whole.
There's humans that do and get pleasure out of it, but not all humans do.
Not all humans. That's
Let me get to my point. When we see places where, let's say, you can, put out that pain, or let's say put out that anger, or whatever your joy is in Sims, or things like that, right?
Yes.
There is, let's say, this want to go and, let's say, inflict pain on something, or inflict, harm on something. For example, you saying these games influencing people. But my argument towards these video games not influencing violence is that at the end of the day, there's billions and billions of these games sold, right?
I understand that.
There's billions and billions of these games sold, right? Millions of people play COD. Millions of people play Assassin's Creed. I was never a gamer. I never had like a PS or anything like that. But at the end of the day, these people are still functioning people in society.
Yes.
Right? And there's still people who are CEOs of companies. There's still people who clean people's bathrooms. There's still people who, ride the metro with us every day. And the reason why is because people differentiate the reality and the virtualness.
Okay, but
and
we're not disputing that. We're not disputing that.
And they are taught from a young age, as our wonderful mother here will tell us the same thing too, is that you do not do these things in public.
We're not disputing from that though. We're not disputing from that. Hold on, because I want to go back to what you said about guns, yeah? If the parent doesn't have guns, or if the child or whoever it may be is not in an environment that provides guns, right? Let me go back to, you're from America. Certain states, I know it is legal to have a gun. It is very easy to get a gun, like going into a store and buying a knife. Like it's that easy, yeah? If a kid is angry, let's say their environment is really bad, they live in the hood, their parents are drunk addicts or do alcohol and all of that stuff. Let's say that, yeah? And they play these video games. These video games are a world that they go into to release their anger. But let's say someone really pushes them one day, yeah? And really messes with them. And they want to resort to their fist closing, or if they've gone out and got a gun because it's just what they may carry in the environment that they live in, they feel like they need to protect themselves, and they just shoot someone out of, I don't know, something that's not even that serious for someone to get shot. Let's say that happens. We're not saying that it will happen all the time, but we're saying that it can influence that behavior.
Well, you just justified your point by yourself. You justified that their environment that they are from
Yeah, but I was giving you an example.
There is a lot of stuff that exists in our world.
Today we're fighting because some crazy people tend to go in school and shoot teachers or other students, and you're out there creating a game that you push the kid, go again in school and shoot people. Doesn't make any sense. My brother, every single video games that he got right now, he's only 11. My mom doesn't even know what's inside.
And so you think your little brother is gonna go shoot up?
No, I'm not saying that. Obviously, I'm not saying that. He even won't have time for that. All of us will
this
just
is the
kill
point
him
we're
at home
getting to. This is the
before
point
he
we're
thinks about that.
getting to. You're saying your little brother has games, right, that have a ton of violence in them, right?
That the video game, it's not reality. This is reality. Whatever you're playing there, it's not reality. My mom never told that to my brother.
Okay.
But he just got another personality that helps him thinking in that way.
Okay.
So obviously, I'm not saying he's going to end up going shooting people in school.
She just cleaned up my last point. I'll continue with what I was gonna say. So we go to like violence in schools, right?
Yeah.
Got violence in schools. One kid hits another kid, right? Where does that come from?
Maybe I don't know, whatever happened between them.
They are always fighting.
The things that you learn usually when it comes to violence either come from the household, whether it be an aggravated household or an household that is usually in distress, or they come from school themselves.
But not video games.
When it comes to the environments, you go to rundown environments, right? You go to places where the income level is below, if we're in the US, below $20,000. And the thing you got to do to make money is deal in things that are violent. The things that you have to do is sell drugs. The things that you have to do is actually go out there, and you may have to kill people because you're part of that. Now listen, hold on, listen.
What about when they fight and some of them use some techniques because of the video games? Let's just bring up one video game, like the catch. Like
if there is a person out there, hold on. If there is a person out there who fights, right? Who fights when they're trying to save themselves, today in today's age, they're not human, because when a gun's pulled, it's over. When a gun's pulled, it's over. People don't fight anymore.
Hold on, because now I want to talk.
Guns. People pull guns.
Now I want to talk, because listen.
This is the violence that people are talking about. This is the violence that affects.
But that's not what we're talking about. This is. Can I butt in here, please?
So show me. No, hold up.
I can't. You're not letting me talk.
Show me where this violence that you were talking about affects what is happening out there.
show me yours too. Show me yours too.
Listen, I just gave you examples, B.
We gave you examples too.
Talk.
Thank you. Oh my God. Listen, yeah. First of all, we're not talking about violence solely. Yeah. Second of all, yeah, you brought up violence at war. Okay. When you take children, yeah, because they usually start from about 18 to go to war, yeah. They go to war, they go to camp, they get trained, they get brainwashed and to tell you that it's the enemy. A video game does exactly that. It brainwashes you, yeah? What you take on your conscious mind goes into your subconscious mind when you sleep. When she said that she dreams about Sims, yeah? That's not a really violent game, but she dreams about Sims, yeah? A child that does not know right from wrong, that maybe 5-year-old, because let's say, yeah, kids nowadays, yeah, have freaking iPhones before I was even born, yeah? Before I was born. So it's like they don't know right from wrong. If an advert comes up on the side of a violent game and they click on it and start to play, the parent may not even realize, yeah? But that goes from their conscious mind to their subconscious mind. They will sleep on it, wake up, maybe play that game again. It becomes a vicious cycle, yeah? To the point if no one does explain it to them, and even if someone does explain it to them, they get violent. It could. We're not saying that every single child, everyone that's bought these millions of thousands of games are violent, but we're saying that it has an impact. There's actually been a study to show that there's an impact. Kids don't necessarily have to come from a bad home. There's kids that potentially are in rich families, have everything that they need in life, things that other people desire, and they will still play the games and they still may lash out in violence because of the video games. Not always because of the video games.
Let her talk.
Not always because of the video games, but a video game can impact a child. I'm not saying every child in the world, because there's millions of people here, yeah? Millions, billions, yeah? But it can impact a child. A video game can impact a child. The same way, if you constantly watch something constantly over and over and over and over again, that thing is going to impact your emotions. If you watch horror movies all the time, if someone locked you in a room for 10 days and all you're watching is horror movies, it's going to impact you. Definitely. Not to say that you're going to go out and stab someone, but it may make you a more aggressive person. Like, violence isn't just a form of physically punching somebody in the face. It can be caused by anything. I can become a violent person by the way I react and the way I swing my hands across in your face, or the way I verbally decide to pick my words to tackle any situation. That's what we're saying.
All right, is that point done?
Yes.
No, it was. You said you have mad points, so
that wasn't one point.
So you had mad point.
Wait, did I not touch on? Mad points. I touched on more than one point.
So all right.
And I even brought up your war thing that you didn't explain.
Bet. I respect your input. And so where is that impact, is my question.
Did he hear anything I said?
I don't think so.
No, where is that impact?
She just said everything now.
No, listen, what you just said, right? What you just said is that the video games and they're closing this whole thing. No, yeah, they're brainwashing and they're locked in this and they're influenced, right? Where is that impact of all that stuff?
Listen, there is an article that has shown studies that kids get influenced by violence by video games. This is not even just me, yeah? This is scientist level, yeah? And this thing said that it impacts white children more than it does what was it? Hispanic children and Asian. Hispanic, it doesn't affect as many of Hispanics. I don't know why. I don't know the reasons why, but this is what this thing said. This is a study.
I'm gonna tell you why, because these Hispanic households, Asian households, Black households, we whoop our kids. That's why.
No, that's not why. That's not why. Not every.
My son was playing a video game the other day and he came and he hit me. I was like, oh hell no, this is not happening. And
You've just proved that point. Your child was playing a video game and came and hit you.
And he reacted on you.
And I hit him back. This is when he realized that, oh no, this is a video game. You do not come and hit people in the house because of a stupid video game. It's a video game.
Yeah, but the question is, does it impact? Wait, my question to you, did it impact your child, yes or no?
It did.
Okay. I'm done.
What?
I'm done.
I even spoke in French right now, my bad. Like, thank you.